United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Here.
Commissioner Correll?
Here.
Chairman Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Hubert?
Here.
Commissioner Say?
Here.
Commissioner Romero?
Aye.
Sean Sterling is absent. Scott?
Okay. At this time, any member of the public is welcome to come up and talk to us about anything that's not on the agenda tonight. No action will be taken, and you have 2 minutes. Is anybody interested in? Okay. So consent calendar. We're going to get a motion for the minutes for September 17th and October 22nd.
I'll make a motion for September 17th. We do, okay, and the 22nd.
I have to abstain from the 18th. I wasn't here and I didn't watch the meeting, but I was here for the 17th.
Then let's do them separately.
Okay, so I'll make a motion for September 17th first.
A second.
Second.
Call for vote.
Your machines work.
I think I was absent on that meeting. I think. I'm going to abstain.
Oh, I said yes. I was here.
So, again, Scott, we don't have a quorum. If Yoli.
We do.
Yes, and Yoli wasn't here.
No, Yoli was here.
I was here for the 17th. I wasn't here for the 18th.
I apologize.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. It passes.
Can we, just for clarity on the record, can we just retake the vote?
Yes.
Voting for September 17th minutes.
Voting. Start. Okay. We have 4 ayes and 1 abstain. And 1 absent.
And which member of the commission is abstaining, Donna?
Wasn't here. I wasn't here in that meeting.
We have two abstentions.
Yeah,
Two abstentions.
Romero and Kennedy.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion for October 22nd.
Make a motion for October 22nd.
I'll second.
Call for vote.
I have 1 abstain, Scott, Yoli Say, and 5 yeses.
Okay, moving on to general business, and there is no general business, so if I could hear the first public hearing.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. The first item on the agenda this evening is a public hearing to consider a transient rental license and coastal development permit to allow renting or leasing of a room or rooms for a period of fewer than 30 consecutive days at the property at 415 Alta Vista. The applicants, Robert and Christy Heyer, proposed to short-term rent a portion of the main and lower levels of the single-family residence, which is located in the villas area of Hamilton Cove. Transient renters would have access to the garage, which includes the golf cart rental, and 3 bedrooms on the main level, which is the 2nd floor of the building. And on the lower level, they would have access to 3 bedrooms, a common room, laundry room, kitchenette, game room, an outdoor barbecue area, and balcony. The balance of the residence, which includes the 3rd floor master bedroom suite, as well as the living room, dining room, balconies, and the pool area on the 2nd floor, which is the main level, would be locked and would not be available to transient renters. Based on the number of bedrooms, which would be 6 that are offered for rent, the maximum occupancy of the short-term rental would be 14 individuals. Staff did identify two issue items for discussion as part of the proposed project. One is the access to the exterior deck and balcony related to potential for noise nuisance. As we've discussed on other projects, there is the potential when you have outdoor areas for there to be a potential noise nuisance to adjacent properties if they're used outside of, the customary hours for a residential area. And the property is located in Noise District 2. In this case, there is a standard condition of approval for transient rentals that states that any unenclosed balconies and patios are not to be used during the hours of 9 p.m. to 8 a.m., which is actually more stringent than the outdoor noise requirements for Noise District 2, which the applicant would also still need to abide by. So for this project, staff has it's the opinion of staff that there should not be any undue issue with the renters having outdoor access to at least some of the balcony areas on the building, especially since the areas that could garner the most noise nuisance, like the pool area, will not be available to renters. And that has been included. The specific areas that are going to be accessible to renters has been included as part of the resolution of approval for the project. The other issue item that was identified was maximum rental occupancy. As I mentioned, they will have, based on the standard regulations, they would have the ability to have up to 14 individuals for the rental. Based on the large size of the unit and its location and the fact that there won't be much outdoor area available to renters to utilize, staff has not recommended any limitations on the occupancy, but the Planning Commission does have the authority to set a different maximum occupancy if you feel that it is important in order to make sure that the property does not cause issues for surrounding properties. As far as the conditions of approval, staff is recommending approval of the proposed project. Some highlights would be that in addition to standard conditions, 2 additional conditions numbered 12 and 13 would clarify that what portion of the residence would be allowed to be transiently rented, as previously discussed. And condition 13 would require them to have a security plan on file to just keep staff up to date on how the non-rented areas will be secured. So the floor plan that is included in the staff report does denote kind of what doors are supposed to be locked and what areas are not available to renters, but we would want to make sure that they keep that up to date moving forward. Because those 2 things are conditioned, if the applicant wanted to request any changes to the operational characteristics of the TRL in terms of the area that would be rented, they would need to come back in the future for a modification. So with that said, staff is recommending approval of the proposed project, and that the project would be exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to Section 15301, Class 1 existing facilities. I'm available for any questions, and then I believe the applicant is present in the audience, I believe. There they are, for any questions you might have as well. Thank you.
Questions? Yeah?
One question. The areas for rent and not for rent for the transit rental are the applicant's desires.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, they weren't a condition put on by staff.
They were not. That is what the applicant requested, and we just made sure to incorporate that into the conditions so it would be very clear moving forward for staff and the applicant how they're supposed to operate.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? All right, open up the public hearing. Anyone like to speak on this property? Yeah. Please come up and state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Bobby Heyer. Address is 415 Alta Vista. I'm the owner of the rental that we're speaking about right now. And I do have a request. Can I hand you guys out something?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So my request, I wrote a letter kind of explaining the situation, and I understand that the limit is set at 14, but I would like to request, if it's possible, to do 16. I know that there was another transient rental that was just granted at 16, and the reason I ask is the house, and I included pictures in there so you could see what I'm talking about. The house is designed for families. There's 2 bedrooms in the house, which have 4 queen bunk beds in each bedroom. So there's 4 in one bedroom, 4 in another bedroom. And just basically, we designed it as a girl's room and a boy's room. And it's designed for kids. It's designed so that people can have their families there and that they can enjoy it with their families. Because when you come as a family, a lot of times you'll come with your brothers, your sisters, or your siblings. And having that space for family and having those 8 beds set aside, I mean, adults aren't going to want to sleep in those beds. You know, again, it's designed for families so that they can bring their kids. And at 14, I mean, we have more beds than people. And it's not to try and, you know, create a situation where it's a party house. It's a very nice house, and honestly, I don't want people there who are going to destroy it or be reckless or damage things. That is not, I mean, this is our home. As you noted, we locked off a certain portion of it, which is ours. My wife and I got married here. We got married in 2002, and we've been coming to the island ever since, and it was a dream of ours to build a home here so that once the kids are gone, we can come over, we can live over here. But as part of that, we also want to rent it out so we can help, you know, pay taxes and mortgage and things like that. But the house is designed specifically with those bedrooms for kids. So, you know, I know it's a request, and I know that that you guys have limits, but I respectfully request that you could do 16 if it's at all possible.
Anyone else like to speak on this property? Any questions or comments? Does someone want to make a motion if no one has any objections or questions?
Does anybody have a feeling about the 2 extra rooms?
I don't know if I missed it, but I don't see a property manager.
So they don't have to specify in their application who the property manager is going to be, but they will have to have that person in place and licensed prior to getting the business license to operate. So they do have to have an on-island licensed property manager.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
I don't see an issue with 2 extra people for a place this large, but does anybody have any strong feelings before motions?
A queen size on top of it. So.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
They're building big homes out there,
Well, and
so.
the reality is if it turns into party town and it gets complaints, then that's a whole nother issue that gets faced by the property owner. So recognizing that, if his wish is to have the additional bodies, then so be it.
Is that a motion?
Somebody make a motion.
Okay, I'll make one just to decide. Make a motion that we find the project exempt from California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to Section 15301, or 301, under Class 1 of the CEQA guidelines, because it has no potential to have a significant effect on the environment, and adoption of resolution number PC 25-55, approving a transient rental license and coastal development permit pursuant to PC 28888. And bumping up our usual standard because of the particularity of this property to add 2 more people, a total of 16. And all other conditions remain the same. So that's my motion.
Second.
And just for clarification to the record, it would be condition number 7 that is updated to have a maximum of 16.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Okay.
Any other?
Call for a vote. He seconded it, so call for a vote.
Not as fun.
There we go. Okay, Scott,
My screen was blank for a minute.
all ayes.
Agenda item number 2.
I have a question, but I don't know when to ask this question. I'm wondering if there's already a cap, and if there is a cap, what's the number?
There is a cap, and I believe it's 410.
It's 410. and
Okay.
We're not there yet. and
Yeah.
We will be there.
That's what we're working towards.
Right.
Okay, I've been having that question. Thanks.
So great. Item number 2 this evening is a public hearing considering a transient rental license and coastal development permit to allow renting for 30 or fewer consecutive days at 63 Camino de Flores. This property is located in building number 1 at Hamilton Cove Condominiums and consists of a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit. The residence is on a single level with an interior living space and a shared balcony with the unit next door. The entire residence would be rented as a single unit. Based on the number of bedrooms, there would be a maximum occupancy of 6 individuals. Staff has not identified any issue items related to the proposed project and has recommended standard conditions related to occupancy, noise requirements, licensing, et cetera. The applicant, does not have any other transient rentals within the city and is currently in compliance with all city regulations. As far as the number of units in the building, we have provided a map showing that all other directly adjacent units within this building are already licensed as transient rentals. So there would not be, the approval of this project would not create a situation where a non-transient rental or year-round rental would now be surrounded by transient rentals. With that said, staff is recommending that the project be approved per the conditions of approval in the draft resolution, and that the project would be exempt from CEQA under Class 1 existing facilities, which is Section 15301. I believe the applicant is here to answer any questions that you might have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Open the public hearing. Anyone like to speak on this property? State your name and address, please.
I'm Georgia Alavizos, and I own 63 Camino de Flores. And we bought the place about a year or so ago. My dad's best friend was an original owner, and he passed away, and we bought it from the family because they're my family. And so we remodeled it, made it beautiful, and we enjoy it, but it's expensive, so we want to be able to supplement some of that expense. And we hope to have nice, quiet people there. We haven't had disturbances from any of the neighbors renting, really, so it seems pretty mellow. People come in there. I haven't seen any problems. And I definitely want respectable people there because I spent a lot of money remodeling the place and it was not easy. So I appreciate your consideration on this. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else would like to speak on this property? No? Close the public hearing. Any questions for staff or motions?
Make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve. The project is exempt from the California Environmental CEQA pursuant to Section 15301 under Class 1 of the CEQA guidelines because it has no potential to have a significant effect on the environment, and adopt resolution number PC 25-56 approving a TRL and coastal development permit, PC number 2893.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, call for a vote.
All eyes, Scott.
Okay. Agenda item number 3.
Hold on, I think I've got 2 copies of the, do you have item 3? All right, we're good to go. So item number 3 this evening is a public hearing considering a transient rental license and a coastal development permit to allow renting or leasing of room or rooms for a period of fewer than 30 consecutive days duration at 240 Catalina Avenue, Unit A. So this property is a 3-unit residence located in the flats at the corner of Beacon Street and Catalina Avenue. So the unit that is proposed to be rented is a two-level unit that is directly facing Catalina Avenue, which has both a balcony and porch. The other 2 units in the building are an apartment, which is known as Unit B, and an accessory dwelling unit, which is on the first level. The applicant is proposing that the 2 other units in the building would remain year-round rentals, and only Unit A will be the one that would be transiently rented. The unit is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom unit. As I mentioned, 2 levels, and also has a roof deck. The unit would be leased as the entire unit would be leased as a single rental. Based on the number of bedrooms, the maximum occupancy of the unit would be 10 individuals based on the standard conditions of approval. Staff has identified 2 issue items just to bring to your attention and consideration for this project. One is the presence of adjacent short-term rentals. So one of the findings that Planning Commission is required to consider in granting a transient rental license is whether any year-round residences adjacent to the proposed TRL would have more than a majority of adjacent residences permitted for short-term rental use if the project were approved. Based on the vicinity map, which is included in attachment 2, granting of a transient rental license for this property would result in one adjacent property, which is 241 Descanso Avenue, being surrounded on majority of sides by licensed short-term rentals. 241 Descanso Avenue is a single-family residence. We do not know whether that's a year-round rental, a vacation rental. We were not able to find specific information about that to provide you as part of the public hearing today. But we did want to note that the property is located in the special commercial zone, which is zoned for a mix of residential commercial uses. And that adjacent residence, which is to the rear of the subject property, would be buffered from the short-term rental at 240 Catalina by the 2 long-term rentals that are located at the rear of the building. Also, currently 236 Catalina Avenue, which is one of the properties that is licensed for short-term rental. It's a grandfathered one, but is currently year-round occupied by the property owner. Therefore, it was the opinion of staff that granting the transient rental license for 240 Catalina Avenue is consistent with the underlying zone, which is supposed to be a mix of residential and commercial uses, and that the placement of the proposed short-term rental still provides some buffering for the 241 Descanso property from a transient rental because of its placement in the building. So those would be things for consideration. Issue item number 2 is the unenclosed porch, balcony, and roof deck access. So as we've talked about in other properties in the flats, there is the potential for sound to carry if those areas are used outside of the usual residential hours. In this case, the property is located in the commercial noise district, but would still be subject to the limited hours of use from the 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. due to the standard condition of approval. So even though there are multiple unenclosed outdoor areas, it was the opinion of staff that the existing regulations and standard conditions adequately address the potential nuisance noise concerns related to the roof deck. Staff has provided findings consistent with a recommendation of approval for the proposed project. I did also want to note that the property owner does currently operate 2 other transient rentals within the city that are in compliance with all city operating regulations, and also operates several dozen year-round rental properties as well. I had a question before the meeting. There is no prohibition in the transient rental regulations that if someone already has one, they can't be granted additional ones. But certainly whether they have additional transient rentals and whether they've been operating in good standing is something that the Planning Commission is allowed to consider as part of making a finding of approval or denial for a project. If the applicant could, thank you. So the applicant is present this evening for any questions that you may have, and that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Do you know if the ADU and the other apartment have access to the?
I don't believe so.
Question.
The other 2 units? No, they do not.
The access to the roof, at least based on the floor plan that's provided, shows that that's an interior access from Unit A to the roof.
Any other questions?
Do the same noise hours apply, like at Hamilton?
Correct. So they would not be able to use the outdoor balcony, patio, or roof between 9 p.m. and 8 a.m. If there were noise complaints related to those uses, that would constitute a complaint related to the transient rental that could lead to, if it became a chronic issue, a hearing for revocation.
Open the public hearing. Anyone like to talk on this property? Please state your name and address.
I'm Tyler Ramison, 240 Catalina Avenue, and I'd just like to thank you for your consideration. I've been feel like a member of the Catalina Avalon community for 50 years. I've been coming here since I was 1. I have 5 children, and I've been bringing them here and indoctrinating them. And we come every summer, and we do have multiple houses, but during August we're here and we're occupying them and being part of the community. And really year-round, I try to be part of the community. You know, when I built this property, I tried to take into account the needs of the city in terms of long-term housing and what we were trying to do, and meld those two in providing the long-term housing. So, you know, I love Avalon, try to be a great member of the community, and yeah, I welcome any of your questions. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak on this property? Public hearing. Any comments or questions for staff or any motions?
And people, is that like normal for that amount of bedrooms? Yeah, right? Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay. That's what I was thinking, yeah.
I'd like to move that we find this project exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, pursuant to Section 15301, under Class 1 as an existing facility of the CEQA guidelines, because it has no potential to have significant effect on the environment, and resolution number PC 2557, approving a transient rental license and coastal development permit pursuant to 2894 as attached.
Second.
Scott, we have 5 ayes, 1 no. Jessica Romero.
And item number 4?
Thank you, Chair. So item number 4 is a public hearing considering a transient rental license and coastal development permit for renting or leasing of a room or rooms for a period of 30 or fewer than 30 consecutive days duration at 61 Playa Azul. So the applicants, John and Natalie Ricky and John and Regina Petrella, proposed to short-term rent a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, single-family condominium unit at Hamilton Cove. The property is on a single level and does have a shared balcony with the adjacent condominium units. The entire unit would be rented, our residents would be rented as a single unit. Based on the number of bedrooms, the maximum occupancy would be 6 individuals. Staff has not identified any particular issue items related to this application. It is similar to the other condominium units and kind of the condo portion of Hamilton Cove. The vicinity map that has been provided to you as part of attachment 2 shows that should the applicant's license request be approved, all directly adjacent units are already licensed as short-term rentals in this building, next to them in this building, which is building 9. The applicant also does not have any other short-term rental licenses in the city and is otherwise in good standing with the city related to any other licensing and permitting. The applicant is present this evening. I can confirm if you have any questions for them. Otherwise, staff is recommending approval of the project subject to the draft resolution and that the project is exempt from CEQA per section 15301. Thank you.
Any questions for staff? Hearing. Would anyone like to speak on this property? Any questions or motions?
I'll make a motion to find this project exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, pursuant to Section 15301 under Class 1, existing facilities of CEQA guidelines, because it has no potential to have a significant effect on the environment, and adopt resolution number PC 25-58, approving a transient rental license and coastal development permit pursuant to 2895 with attachment.
You have a second?
Second that.
Call for a vote?
We have all ayes.
5.
Thank you, Chair. Item number 5 is a public hearing to consider a transient rental license and coastal development permit to allow renting or leasing of a room or rooms for a period of fewer than 30 consecutive days duration at 314 Metropole Avenue, Unit B. So the applicant, Robert Glazer, proposes to short-term rent a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, multifamily residential unit. This unit is located on the 2nd and 3rd floors of the building that includes a total of 5 units. The other 4 units in the building are all year-round rentals. The unit has 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and the kitchen on the 1st level, which has access to the adjacent deck. And then the There's an additional 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom on the second floor of the unit, which is the third level of the building. The entire unit would be rented as a single unit. Based on the bedroom count, the maximum occupancy of the unit would be 10 individuals. Staff has, as mentioned before, the building contains 4 other units, all of which are currently year-round rentals and would remain so if the project were approved. Staff has identified one issue item for discussion, which is the unenclosed deck. So the way that the building is configured, the unenclosed deck, essentially there's 2 ways to access the unit. One is there is a staircase access from Sunny Lane, which is adjacent to the building, or you can access the property from Metropole Avenue down it's a flag lot, so they have like a walkway that goes up a staircase to the deck, which also is the main entrance to the unit. That deck is not appeared to be shared with any of the other units in the building, so it's solely accessible to this unit. The property is surrounded generally by other multifamily buildings, sort of in this area, which is zoned for special commercial use, and is also adjacent or nearly adjacent to the Cameron Hotel site, which is currently under construction. It is also next to the Beacon Senior Apartments as well. The project property is in Noise District 3, which is one of the districts that's a mix of residential and commercial. But as mentioned, there is still that standard condition number 8, which would prohibit the use of the deck between the hours of 9 p.m. and 8 a.m. And also the underlying noise district prohibits the use of any kind of sound amplifying equipment that's audible past the property line without approval of a special use permit, which is not being requested as part of the project. Therefore, staff believes that existing regulations and standard conditions will adequately address potential nuisance concerns related to the unit, and is recommending approval of the project with standard conditions for a transient rental license. The applicant is present this evening. If you have any questions for them. This, I believe, is their only short-term rental unit, but they do operate, as mentioned, other long-term rental units in the community. That concludes my presentation. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions? No? Public hearing. Would anyone like to speak on this property? Come up and your name and address, please.
Hi, Robert Glasser, 314 Metropole. So, as others have been here, my family has been coming to Catalina for decades. I've been coming since I was probably 7 or 8 years old, my wife also. This building has been in her family for decades, probably 50 years. It's an amazing building, and the last thing we want is to ever create a nuisance for our neighbors. So even though we're allowed 10 people, I think we'd like to limit it to 8. And we're also in discussion with Catalina Island Vacation Rentals as a management company here because they're on site, and if there's ever an issue, they would send somebody up, they said, immediately. So a plumbing issue or a noise complaint. Also, we do have a, we discussed with the management company, they said it's fine. We have a little ring camera looking at the deck also. So make sure that everything is, copacetic all the time. Any questions? Thank you so much. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak on this property? No? Close the public hearing. Okay. Any questions or motions?
At the end to drop it from 10 to 8. I'd like to move to find this project exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to Section 15301 under Class 1 of existing facilities of the CEQA guidelines because it has no potential to have a significant effect on the environment, and adopt Resolution PC 25-59 approving a transient rental license and coastal development pursuant to PC 2896 as attachment 1, and then an additional would it be in number 7?
Condition number 7.
Yeah. Condition number 7, drop it from 10 to 8 as requested.
Second? Okay, call for a vote.
Bob. Not playing nice to me.
We have all ayes, Scott.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item 6?
So item number 6 was a public hearing and consideration of a resolution recommending approval of a 2026 annual growth policy to the City Council as required by Avalon Municipal Code Section 9-12-102. Staff is recommending or requesting that this item be continued for consideration at the December 17th Planning Commission meeting, so that staff can have some additional time to review the recommended growth policy requirements in light of the fact that, we understand that, Southern California Edison is still working on expansion of their desalination system, and we want to make sure we fully understand the time horizon they have on potential new allocations so we can dial in the recommendations to you appropriately.
Get a motion then to continue the public hearing?
So moved.
Well, do you want to open the public hearing first and
I have
then
to
leave it open following opening the hearing?
Is that what I?
And we need to have it to a specific date, correct?
Yes.
Continue to a specific date.
We're recommending continuing to a date certain, which would be the December 17th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting. That would allow us to not have to renotice the item next month.
Do I have to open the public hearing?
Scott, if we're going to continue this till December 17th, do we need to open the public hearing on this?
No, we can keep it closed because the opportunity to speak was at this meeting. So it's acceptable to keep it closed unless the commission would like to reopen it.
So just the motion continue
Motion
to
to
December 17th,
December
2025.
So moved.
Seconded? Second. Call for a vote?
Bob.
I did.
I watched you do it. I did.
Your skin's too dry.
I need bigger fingers.
All ayes, Scott.
Agenda item number 7, please.
Thank you, Chair. So agenda item number 7 is a public hearing to consider a conditional use permit, variance, site plan, and coastal development permit for a new hotel at 305 Beacon Street. Staff is also requesting continuation of the public hearing for this item to the December 17th, 2025 regular meeting to allow further review of the proposed project. In this case, the applicant was ready to go, but since our annual growth policy requires written confirmation from Southern California Edison regarding the status of their water allocation before an approval of any entitlements, they weren't able to get that arranged in time for the hearing tonight, so the applicant actually asked as well to have the hearing continued. Yes.
How come this wasn't wrapped up in the hotel originally?
So my understanding from the applicant is that they had hoped to have this piece of property as part of the 301 Beacon Street Cameron Hotel project, which you heard last year, but they had not come to terms with the property owner at that time. Correct. So, so this is a subsequent project because of that.
Okay. Motion to continue the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to continue PC number 2287 over to December 17th.
Second? And call for a vote.
There's on, Bob.
I tell you what.
First. We have all ayes.
Any staff or commissioner business?
So we just wanted to confirm that, based on their request for continuation, that we are intending to have the December 17th regular meeting. So we hope that you'll be able to join us, or a quorum of you will be able to join us for those 2 items, as well as we'll have additional transient rental licenses for your review. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you all.